Hello, everyone. Let me know that you can hear me, see me okay. Let me know that you can hear and see me all right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Wednesday. You got it. Welcome. It is Wednesday. And how about that? I'm going to actually work two places here. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to be live on Facebook and YouTube. Facebook and YouTube. Watch this. Let's see. All right. So, how's everybody doing? Like I said, I'm Toye Johnson-Vincent, your no sugarcoating coach. So, how's everybody doing? Like I said, I'm Toye Johnson-Vincent, your no sugarcoating coach. And let me know if you're hearing like an echo. Like I said, I'm Toye Johnson-Vincent, your no sugarcoating coach. So, how's everybody doing? If you're hearing an echo, let me know if you're hearing like how's an echo. Like I said, nobody's hearing an echo. Okay. All right. Well, there's somebody, I don't know, no sound YouTube. Can you guys hear me okay now? It should be much better. It should be much better. It should be much better. Can you see me and hear me? Put something in the comment so I know. I'll go back to YouTube again. Well, that's one thing I like about going live, if you will. Now, it says I have a couple of people on here. Let me know who you are. If you're looking at me from your phone, please make a comment. Make a comment. Let me know. Just let me know. You should be able to hear me now. You should be able to hear me now. All right. Let's see. All right. You should be able to hear me and see me okay. You should be able to hear me and see me okay. Because we're going to get started, going to get started. Thank you. Going to get started. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. This is Career Series 2023. And as I said, we're going to get right into it. Yes, yes, yes. And the bottom line is, let's face it, have you ever had a workplace challenge? And I want to be more specific. Have you had a workplace challenge? Now, I keep saying, someone is telling me they say no sound. Can you hear me, see me? Put it in the comments. I don't know what they're talking about. No sound. I am here. So I don't know why you wouldn't have sound. I don't know. You may have to turn up your own sound or volume on your phone. Okay. One person just said to me they can hear and see me. So again, check your own phone, check your phone and your sound on your phone. Okay. So there's always one, right? So anyway, thank you. It looks like OEV is in the house. OEV is in the house. Thanks for tuning in, OEV. Let me know where you're coming in from. Are you in New York, Atlanta? Are you in the Carolinas? Are you in Boston? Where are you? Do something in the chat, okay? Something in the chat. So I know. All right. Let me just move on because at least I know somebody can hear me and see me. So that means you need to check your volume on your phone. Maybe you have something that's off. Okay. But at any rate, today is Wednesday. It's October 4th, all day long, right? All evening long. And you could be anywhere in the world doing anything that you need to do. But I appreciate, I really do appreciate that you are joining. So, at any rate, I wanted to say thank you so much for joining. And let me know again. Someone has said Greater Atlanta area. Okay. So again, there's no more echo. I know initially there was, And I heard it myself, but now you shouldn't have that any longer. Tell me if you're hearing an echo, anybody. Tell me if you're hearing an echo or you're just hearing me. Because so far, one out of the three is saying that she has no sound. So I don't know why. But anyway, the one thing that I wanted to talk about tonight, and I realize that some of you, you'll probably look at this on the replay. That's really important that I know that you will do that. And the way we do that is by sharing. Please share the live. Please share the live, because I appreciate you for doing that. Now, the deal is great, great. They're saying no echo. Okay, thank you. We finally got this right. It's right. It's right. So, hey, KWB, I believe you're in the Carolinas. You need to definitely check something with the phone or your settings. You can watch me from your television set. If you have internet, you can pull up YouTube. Just pull me up, Toye Johnson-Vincent. I mean, definitely there's sound on your TV, so it doesn't have to be on your phone. Tonight is a topic that I've been talking about this for a couple of years now, and because it's sort of near and dear to me. And this career series, Fall 2023, is something that I've been doing for about 2 years now. Actually, I believe this is my third year that I decided to do it. And I usually talk about anything that has to do with career, anything career development, learning and development, employee development, meaning you being the employee. Some of us that may look at my lives, I'm connected to so many entrepreneurs, authors, speakers, you name it, I'm connected to them. So I realize that, you're all coming from different backgrounds. But the one thing that we probably might have in common is that if you've ever worked in the workforce, no matter what age you were working in, then you probably would have found yourself fumbling around the workplace. Now, it just happens to be football season, so I use the word fumbling, okay? And I don't even watch the game, really, hardly ever, but it's always on the TV. Just put it this way, it's in my surroundings, but I really, really just would watch a game. But there's something about fumbling that ball. There's something, and people are like, oh no, they fumbled the ball, and it's your team, and they're going up, and maybe it's the fourth quarter, maybe it's right down, narrowing it down to who will win and who will be the obvious, would be losing. So when you look at it that way, the reality is that you don't really have much to stand on. I mean, if you're going to lose, you're going to lose, right? But you still fight until the end. Whatever you do in life, as a certified life coach, I'm telling you, you want to fight right up to the end. You want to give it your all before you just fold in the towel, right? You want to give it your all. So it's the same thing, the same strategy when it comes to understanding the workplace and the learning challenges that go right along with it. Now, to be clear, there's just, if you can, you put in a comment. Have you ever had a challenging time in terms of how to learn something in the workplace? You know how it feels to be a new employee? Think about the new employee coming in. They're almost clueless, other than the job description, some of your team members who are around you. I mean, it's inevitable. You have to learn. It's not like you come into a workplace, a new space. Even if, and when I'm talking about space, I'm talking about working from home or what have you. You even had to adjust to do that, right? You had to make the adjustment. So, in that regard, there are always going to be something that will challenge you. And maybe, just maybe, the directions or the how to do something, the SOP, the standard operational procedure or process, maybe that was incorrect. And here you are, somebody was trying to teach you one way, and that's the way you were learning it. And come to find out, it was really not the best practice for the company, but the person who had the job before you, that's the way they did it. So they, just left you just like that. They left you pretty much on your own, right? So, how do you feel about that? If that's you, if it's ever been you, make sure you comment. I would love to hear about that even more, because that means you're human. It doesn't mean that you're strange or it's out of sorts, out of pocket. You're just human. And when we're trying to go into a workplace, we expect everything to be there for us. We expect the best of the best. We really do. And so, at the reality of it all is that maybe you're not getting the best of the best, right? The person before you just wanted to get out of there. They just wanted to get out of there. They did not want to stay any longer. And then, bam, they gave their notice, they're gone. Now, here you are, you're trying to learn all of these things. Now, how does that work? How does it work? How can you make it work for you? How can you make the process work for you? How? Right? So go ahead, like if you want, show me some claps on the hands, whatever, if you're getting what I'm saying. Because I'm getting ready to take you to school right now. I'm going to drop the gems tonight very quickly. This is a career fall series, so they're not lengthy as in classroom style, but it is to get more clarity for you as the listener, as the viewer, so that you can also share. And if you believe that it really doesn't even apply to you, I guarantee you have to know someone in your life that it may apply to. They're still in the workplace, and they're basically not having the best of times. And all because they just didn't get it, what was going on. And now here comes the topic for tonight. Workplace challenges, learning challenges specifically in the workplace. If you're just coming in, let me know that you can hear me and see me. Please, I appreciate that. Just put it in the comments. Just say what's up to me, where you're coming in from. Appreciate it. I was trying to do live on Facebook as well. So, but we'll see about all of that. It's always something when it comes to that. Let's see if we can, well, probably not. But anyway, I wanted to go live on several channels. And of course, it's always something when you want to do it. So think about that. There's challenges everywhere and every how. But so I just wanted to be clear that if you did get the link to join me tonight, definitely I'll be sharing it out on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. It'll be out there. Trust and believe that. So yeah, let me just get right down to it. I had something that I saw, and it was interesting because let me just back up a minute. Now, I don't want to assume that you all know who I am, or maybe you've heard of me and maybe you just wanted to check me out in a live. I'm not sure. But what I want you to do is definitely check, please check out, my website as well, so you'll learn more about me, and maybe you'll come back and you'll be forwarding and sharing my topics, my content, because I'm not only on this platform. I usually go live as well on Instagram and Facebook sparingly, but I will share this out on Instagram and Facebook later on in the evening. Now, I'm Toye Johnson-Vincent, the No Sugarcoating Coach. Allow me to reintroduce myself. Born and raised in New York City, that's right, NYC. Raised in Brooklyn, Crown Heights area. If you're familiar with that, I hope so, then you know what I'm talking about. Born in Queens, Jamaica, Queens, Hollis, St. Albans area. If you know, you know. All right. Shout out to my New Yorkers out there that may be checking in tonight. How about that? Again, don't forget to put something in the chat. Put something in the chat. Give some likes and thumbs up. Appreciate it. I think I saw a few. And my primary background was HR, human resources. And later on in years, after doing human resources, I was basically matching that wonderful talent to major corporations, right? Nationally, right? Didn't really do anything international on the international level. But because I worked in so many fantastic organizations, and I'm telling you, I worked in some really great financial services companies, consumer beverage companies, banking, you name it, I was there, call centers and the like. Recruiting talent, so talent management, getting talent on board, sourcing talent. And it really, I started to think when I was interviewing, and I want to tell you this little backstory so you understand how I actually bridged the gap to doing what I do today, which is pretty much talking about and passionate about the workplace, employee development, individuals developing their own talent and skills so that they're more marketable in the workplace. And the bottom line is, I'm talking about for internal positions as well as if you're going looking for a job. No, I don't sit with you and talk with you 4 hours about how to interview, but I will speak, or if you invite me to speak, inspire, motivate, and empower your classroom, I would certainly do that and definitely can craft something for the how to. And even on the college level, the collegiate level. But, because that's something that, as part of my job, it was just something I learned to do very well. As you're sifting through resumes, seeing more and more resumes, and understanding, wow, this person really is a gem or a diamond in the rough, if you will. And that is how we get to the bottom line when we're trying to match talent. So from there, I also realized that it wasn't really my job to tell you if you were coming in for an interview necessarily, well, how to dress, how to be cordial, how to be extremely professional if you really want to get this job right here, right now. It really wasn't my job or my role. But as an HR person and someone that really enjoys seeing people be successful, from time to time, I was able to just say a couple of things and staying in line, if you will, because HR is all about checks and balances. It just is. Everything we do with checks and balances, right? So, with that said, I had to really get real with some of the people that were coming through for interviews. I'm like, look, this is, even if you just smile, that's half of, you're moving yourself up in the ranks to get closer and closer to the next line of interview. Because initially, I was pretty much the first person that you would see. I probably screened you, whether it was over the phone or in person, and you came in and you just looked like a slob. Sometimes people just pretty much was very sloppy, and sometimes, and it's not that they didn't have the clothes. It's nothing about the clothing that they were wearing, because that's none of my business and it's not HR's business. It was just basically, you really just looked like you got up, didn't care, but you showed up anyway, kind of, well, maybe I'll get the job, maybe I won't, it's not a big deal. So it was part of the behavior and the attitudes that got me thinking, I need to be doing something a lot more than just interviewing people for a job at major corporations. I wanted to take, my career or my career journey, I wanted to take control of it and start to gain, more traction there by helping other people regarding career development. That's the deal. So that's what made me get into this in the first place. That's why I'm in this deep right now. So that's how I merged the gap. I just wanted you to know what it is. And yes, I study speech communication, so I'm a speaker, a certified life coach. I speak on career development, training and development, resilience, networking, you name it, I speak about it. And by the way, family dynamics, big topic for me. Grief and loss, huge topic for me, because if you've been following me all along on my website, which is TJV, empowers you, the letter u.com. Again, TJV empowers you. That's the letter u.com. You'll look at my bio. If you read it, you'll know that my story was one of the loss of my one and only child, who was of toddler age while I was in my 20s. Due to congenital heart disease. So when I talk about resilience, I do reference that point in my life of that great loss, which still reigns in my heart and mind today. And so there are many things how I was merging my speaking career with training, and I'd like to train from a strategy standpoint. That's really what I love to do. And that's where this comes in at. So when I started really figuring out that I could do all of this, and you can actually make money at it, well then, hey, that's a no-brainer, right? You know? So that's a little bit about me, and so you understand where my passion comes from to try to help people from a coaching perspective, which I've been a certified life coach since 2018. And because I do speak a lot on career development, employee development, organizational development, you name it, the topics, as I've mentioned previously, it only makes sense to bridge the gap between the coaching, the training, and speaking to audiences globally. Oh, and if you don't know, I am a podcast host of Speak to Me First podcast show. Speak to Me First podcast show. You can find me on Spotify, Google Cast, doesn't matter what kind of phone you have or device. Just pull me up, make sure you like, subscribe, and tonight, before you leave, make sure you like and subscribe my YouTube channel so that whenever a new video pops up or I'm live, it will tell you. It will give you a notification on your phone, your email, what have you, and you'll be right in the mix. If you can't see me right then and there, make sure you say hashtag in the replay. All right? So that was a little bit about me so you understand why I'm passionate about this particular topic, which won't be very long. When I got to the point of seeing how people showed up for interviews, or the way throughout organizations, the way the conversations were going through management and team leaders, etc., a lot of times it was just basically a whole lot of disrespect going on. People being laid off that probably shouldn't have been laid off. Maybe they could have laid off someone else. Layoff is never good no matter what. But some people take layoff as, hey, it's good, it worked for me because, they were given a package deal on their way out the door, and they just kind of said, hey, it worked for me kind of deal. But the reality is, when I saw a lot of different things going on, and not really being part of management, I was just doing my job. So that's where I got my own self. Instead of being clueless, I got a clue to say, I know I can help people. I know I can help you. If you listen to any of my lives or my content, you will find something of the gems that I drop that will make sense. You know how they've been saying this thing, make this make sense, make it make sense. It makes sense. Learning challenges, just that in and of itself. When you hear the words learning challenges, what comes to mind? What comes to mind? For some, comes to mind of someone just isn't up to the learning challenge itself, meaning they know what to do. They're very capable of fulfilling and continuing on with a project that was given to them, right? But they refuse, or they sort of shied away from, because they believed that they would fail. They believed that they didn't have all the bells and whistles, and that it would be somewhat of an embarrassment, so that they didn't even step up to the plate. Now, that may describe a whole lot of people out there. And at some point, that was describing me. Okay? I said, no way, earlier on in careers and working at different corporations, both permanently on perm positions as well as contract. And contract is a whole different thing. When they bring you in and you're doing a contract for someone, they expect you to know what you're doing. They look for your expertise, and then you're gone. And they just, okay, we may bring you back on another contract. And I'm glad, because I usually am brought back on other contracts. So that means I'm a really good worker. But what I was finding, and I realized it in many people, was that if you have a learning challenge, and you may have had this from a child, now I'm talking adult learning challenges in the workplace. The workplace is set up for you to get things done. The organization is not there it's not there to babysit. They don't want to do that. They'll lay you off first. And then there's the word fire. Fire. The F word. It can happen. And all you want to do or wanted to do was do your best. But you weren't sure how to ask for help. And so consequently, they gave the task to someone else. And when they did that, then there lies the issue, because you were so, I mean, you were basically so engulfed in what was going on. You wanted to do your best, and you was like, oh no, they didn't even give me a chance to show my best. And I'll tell you one other thing. If it ever happened to you, maybe you decided, oh, I'll just resign because this is just too difficult. It's too hard. They don't have enough people here to train me. Or you might even blame it on the training was just poor. It was just poor training. And if that was the case, let me know. I'd love to hear your comments. If you were ever in that position in your life in the workplace, something was too difficult and it took weeks, where some people come in, or the people that were there, other team members, and they said, well, so and so was in that job and they used to do it like this and we couldn't even keep up with them. And how does that make you feel when you know personally and professionally, but you just basically have a learning challenge? So your skill set and the way you learn is different. The strategies that you have in place, from your brain to whatever comes on paper and you actually doing a task, is different. The way you learn is completely different than someone else. And there's nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with that. Even the concept, there's nothing wrong with the concept. And as a soft skills trainer, and I'm telling you because I too had learning challenges. Oh no, it didn't start as an adult. For most of us, like I mentioned, it starts in your childhood. But if they aren't addressed early on, then it can spill into your adulthood. And now you're in the workplace trying to make, ends meet, food for your family, trying to take care of everything, trying to be the best you can be. You know how to say, be all you can be and be the best you can be. You're trying to do that, but you're struggling with the concepts of learning. And that's where the dots don't connect. And oftentimes, that wonderful person sitting in that workspace is let go because they just couldn't do that particular job in the manner in which the job description or requirements was made up to do. There you go. I'm telling you, I'm going to drop the gems tonight. I won't have you here long. This is Career Series 2023. I'm Toye Johnson-Vincent, your host, here on my YouTube channel at No Sugarcoating Coach. And you can hashtag No Sugarcoating Coach. I appreciate if you share, like, and subscribe to my YouTube channel tonight, because not only do I do the career series, but I also bring other content. The career series, the fall career series, fall, FALL 2023, will be going on probably till about the end of November. And believe me, I sometimes go just right on up until that holiday season. New Year's Eve, I may just tap right on in, okay? and that's winter. But let's just deal with fall right now. So if I'm anything resonating what I've said thus far, let me know. And one of the things too, so you're sitting there, and that was the scenario I wanted to get to you tonight for those listeners. Hashtag learning challenges, because we often think that everything just sort of, let me just tell you, what if you didn't even realize you had a learning challenge your entire life, and now you are in the workplace? Think about how many times were you laid off? How many times were you fired? I'm not talking furlough where you go home and the company's figuring out if they're going to lay off or not. You just furlough, you use your vacation days, you do all that, but you have a solid job to come back to. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about where you ever like fired because you're like, something, I just couldn't do that job, and so they just fired me. No warning, nothing. And a lot of us work in states that are at will states, meaning they don't even have to give you a reason to let you go. I got my HR hat on, folks. But there's coaching behind it. There's coaching behind the hat. You are not alone. If you are an adult right now listening to this live or recording, hashtag replay, make sure you shout it out. Subscribe to the channel. Share this particular video recording live. I appreciate you. The reality is that won't you won't be able to figure it out necessarily like right away. What will happen is you probably have a lot of hiccups along the way. And then eventually, after you talk to other people who have had a similar issue, right, with learning challenges, you might just be talking to somebody. I'm not kidding you. You might be talking to somebody in a grocery store. It can happen. Maybe you're at an event. I attend events as a speaker. That's what we do. And when you talk to other speakers, a lot of speakers have learning challenges. They're fantastic speakers. They also are authors. They've become successful authors, bestsellers. You can pull up any one of their books anywhere, Amazon, anywhere, right? Barnes and Noble, you just #1 bestseller, the whole nine, or whatever state that they come from. And people look up to them. They're influencers as well on social media who have struggled most of their lives with some form of a learning challenge. I did not say disability, I said challenge. Okay? And the good news is there are people that can help you, move along in your career. Once you recognize that, I just don't want you to think it was your fault. It's not. Sometimes even educators don't pick up on this until later on. You can have a parent who's an educator that will ignore the signs. Now, I come from a family of educators, so, but I looked at a report card, like from elementary school, and you know how they're always saying, well, that's the talkative kid, that's the talkative kid. Yeah, they say that. Well, yes, I talk for a living now. I actually speak for a living, or at least one of the things that I do. It's a form of income. I'd love, 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 love to talk with those teachers today, and one in particular. But I digress. You know, so that's what I wanted to get across tonight in my career series. I'm so thankful that you joined me this evening. I want to give you 2 strategies as we close or before we close. And that was the story. I'm glad that you were able to listen to it. Make sure you hashtag replay if you're just listening or just you joined and you weren't able to stay and all that. I get it. People have things to do. They want to stay longer, but they can't always. And I appreciate you just for joining tonight. All of those that were able to hear and see me. And I will definitely send the recording link to anyone that said they had difficulty in doing so. So before closing, again, let me leave you with 2 strategies. The first strategy, and it may be 3. regarding learning challenges is to understand that every single job in the workplace doesn't necessarily fit your background and what you can actually do and be successful at it. It just may not be the job for you. It may, in fact, not even be the organization for you because they are not equipped with being able to help you grow in that particular job and moving on and upward in the company. Because I don't know about you, but I mean, a lot of people will sit in jobs for years and years and years. And I know generationally it happens. Let me just sit here till I retire. I'm just waiting on my 401k plan to be vested and I'm out and all of these things. And that's great if it works for you. But then you have the other half where people are staying in the workplace longer and longer every year. And now you'll find even the more seasoned and older worker is now reporting to someone significantly younger, and they're doing things with technology. They're doing things just almost a paperless society, and that's what it's trying to become, apparently. I mean, we have to do everything online, and you will need help. But what I'm going to say is a strategy for you in the workplace. If you're experiencing, you have a learning challenge, I've dealt with it and I've managed it. And that's exactly what I do. I use the word manage. I manage it on a day to day. And I'm not really reporting into anybody. But I have to report and hold my own self accountable for what I do, bringing content, how I bring it, social media, influencing, motivating people, inspiring them, empowering audiences nationally, soon to be international, by the way. That's right, 2024. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yes. So the reality is, you have to come up with your own strategy, what works for you. And keep in mind, if one thing doesn't work, then you would try something else. But the first thing I would say, you might want to try, make sure, if you're just learning something, you come into a workplace, make sure that you are, if you're going old school, I'm going with the pen and paper, or you build your own sort of, your Word document, if you will. If you need an Excel spreadsheet to get you going so that you understand what is asked of you, when is it due, what is the requirement? How soon do you need something? These are questions you need to ask management rather than sitting there struggling, trying to figure something out for days and days. And then they come to you and say, hey, this work isn't done. We expected it X, Y, and Z. You didn't have it. And now all of a sudden you're sitting, you're sitting, in their office, and you feel like you're being not necessarily lectured, but you really feel like they're coming down on you right now. And you haven't even been there maybe 90 days. I mean, let's face it, the 90-day mark is typically a probationary period, right, that HR use to just figure out if it's really the job for you and are you right for the company and vice versa. It's also your 90 days. So again, you don't want to go into the job all nervous. Oh my goodness, I don't think I'm going to be able to handle all of this. They hired you for a reason. So you must have sold them on you, YOU, and your past or previous experiences on your resume, right? If you didn't inflate your resume, you should be good. But even if you didn't and you have a learning challenge, you still may have that anxiety. So I want to relieve you from that. Just make sure as you're starting out in this new job, you want to jot things down and latch on to someone that knows what they're doing over there. Just ask them outright. Do you mind if you have a moment, if you can show me this, or tell them, I might need to lean on you a bit this is the type of learner that I am. And I hope you don't mind. I don't want to interrupt you, obviously. People have jobs to do. They're getting paid too. They have performance appraisals waiting on them as well that's going to be signed, sealed, and delivered. So they can't take all of their time with you. But then just initially, you'll figure out the people who to go to. And you'll figure out the people who you don't want to go to. Just that simple. Last but not least, Keep in mind that you're there to do the job. Like I said a minute ago on strategy number 1, you're there to do a job. They obviously hired you for a reason. I don't like to think that somebody hired me because they were desperate. I mean, I just don't ever want that feeling. But sometimes when you're interviewing at a lot of these companies, where a lot of people, they don't want to work there because they know the culture of the company is toxic. In a non-learning environment, it's always just do, but we can't learn. There's no time to learn. You need to get in here and you need to get this done and da 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 da. I know this as a contractor. I know this going from contract to contract over the years, like HR stuff. Love what I was doing, but again, it still took some time, because when you come in as a contractor or you're a temporary worker, you're going through an agency, they just need you to cover for someone. The work is already there. It's been done for years. Now you're coming in just maybe for 2 or 3 weeks as a temp or a contractor, what have you, depending on the level of or how professional that job really is. And you are expected to do a fantastic job in a short amount of time to make an impact. Well, that's what I mean by strategy number 2. You need to latch on to someone really quickly. But again, be cautious, because there's some that they have no interest in helping you. I mean, I hate to say it, but there are people to work with. They don't want to help you. You are on your own. I mean, I felt like that sometimes over the years. Oh yeah. And a lot of times it's just personality. They just, or they you know, they're not they're not interested in helping anybody but themselves. So those are the ones you don't want to really deal with too much. But you are cordial. But find someone who right away, their smile is there, they're ready, they're welcoming you. That's the person you look at and you talk to them, and then ease it on down that road to say, look, I might need to lean on you for a few things. I have my assignment, but I hope you don't mind. I will be asking more questions. It's just the way I learn and understand content as part of my training myself, as part of me getting up to speed, if you will. So that's it. So everything's going to be okay. I'm thanking you so much for joining me tonight. I hope you learned a little bit more about me, as well as what I perhaps can be able to do for you and or your team, your organization. Right now, I am available and still accepting, booking events to speak, inspire, motivate, and empower, whether it's a conference coming up in 2023. We still have a couple of months to go. And yes, booking for 2024. And hashtag speaker for hire. Don't forget speaker for hire. All right. I've been known to do some freebies, but not all the time. Moving forward, it's speaker for hire. Trust and believe. That's the way I want to roll in 2024. So enough about that. It's all about you tonight. Thank you so much. I'm Toye Johnson-Vincent. Don't forget, success is in your future. You know that, right? So do what you need to do. Get it done, right? And hey, there's always a challenge to be had. And I'm going to tell you, success is in your future, and you're up to it. You are up to the challenge, or up to it, whatever it is. You can do this. I did, and you can too. I'm Coach Toye, aka No Sugarcoating Coach. Don't forget to check out my website, TJV Empowers You, theletters.com, and Speak to Me First podcast show, where all of my lives will go, and they are eventually uploaded to YouTube. The interviews, the fun, the individual talks that my content is out there. Don't forget, check me out. And again, leave your comment. And I look forward to the next career series, fall 2023, happening in the next couple of days. Take care now. Be safe out there. Bye.